Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here. My name is Andrew, coming to you from the beautiful Carolinas. Today's topic is going to be thinking they will change, learning that they can't. Think about that for a minute. Everyone, if you like the content, please like, subscribe, and share. So I'm referring to the narcissist and how they many times have you believing that they can change, or they will change, or they want to change, but understand they are incapable of changing their poor behavior. Now, let's say that the relationship ended for you a long time ago, say a couple of years or decades ago. You now understand, you have the wisdom, you're applying it, you're getting the tools, and you know that the narcissist is incapable of changing anything other than the target that they are trying to take advantage of and manipulate. In other words, the new supply or the current supply. For the people that the relationship ended recently, my heart goes out to you. My heart goes out to everybody on the channel and in the community. If you were in a toxic narcissistic relationship, it has changed you forever. And many times people don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. I'm here to let you know that there is light at the end of the tunnel. But one thing is for certain, the narcissist can't change. They can't introspect. They can't be accountable. They will blame shift other individuals, which at one point was you, perhaps it still is you. And they will not take responsibility for their poor behavior or their toxicity. Now, is each and every narcissist the exact same? Are they all built the same way? No, they're all different. Remember, narcissism is on the spectrum. So we all have a little bit of it in us, but many of us in the community are not full-blown narcissists. We are empaths, kind, loving individuals. And we have the education now, which means we're becoming the educated empath, a video I created a few months ago. But getting back on track, many times people stay in the relationship, or it is at the tail end of the relationship, or they just broke it off, or the narcissist broke it off, whatever the circumstances are. And they believe that, hey, did they do everything they possibly could? Meaning the person who was watching the video. Did they do everything? Could they have tried harder? Did they give it their all? Was there something that they could have changed, even just one thing, and they would still be with the narcissist? Well, I'll tell you right now, yes, you probably could have done a few things differently. No matter what you did differently though, you would have stayed in the relationship probably just a little bit longer, and you would have endured more toxicity and more abuse and more manipulation, and your resources would have become more and more depleted. So anything you changed in the past, first of all, you can't change the past, but second of all, if you were to do something, maybe give in to the narcissist a little bit more, yeah, you would have stayed in the relationship a little bit longer. But remember, the narcissist won't change. They're the exact same person today as they were when you were in the relationship with them. What has changed are your circumstances, and you have changed. You are evolving, you're learning, you're becoming awakened and aware, you're becoming educated. And now you can hopefully wrap your head around the fact that the narcissist is incapable of change. And that relationship that you were a part of, there was nothing you could do to keep or maintain that relationship, because I will tell you many things. One, most likely the narcissist already had a new supply source lined up, and you probably didn't know about it, or maybe you did and you ignored the red flags, or you didn't trust your instincts or intuition. This wasn't your fault. You were manipulated. Let's say hypothetically that you married the narcissist, or you were in a long-term relationship with them, friendship, whatever, whomever. Maybe let's just use those two. If that's the case, you gave it everything and more. And I can assure you, your resources, which include your time, money, energy, effort, love, empathy, they took a massive hit. Your health took a massive hit. And you were trying to figure out, how come you're feeling this way? What's going on? How come the more you give, the more they want and the less they give back to you? Because it's kind of like meeting a boa constrictor in the middle of the jungle or wherever these things live. You meet it and it slowly wraps itself around you. And what happens? It begins to squeeze the life out of you. And the more you give in, the more that you try and fight it, the harder it squeezes. And what is the constrictor doing? It is playing the long game, the waiting game. It knows that once it wraps itself around you and it slowly begins to crush the life force out of you and the oxygen out of your lungs, and your bones are cracking and everything is just falling apart and you are in excruciating pain. And the more oxygen that gets let out of your lungs, the tighter the squeeze gets until you're eventually not existing. That's essentially a narcissistic relationship in a nutshell. It really sincerely is, because the narcissist wants everything from you and more. And they want you to be around, to be the punching bag, to be the punch line, to be the person who pays their bills, the errand person, the person who makes them look good, the arm candy, the person who provides things for them. Again, money is a huge thing in the narcissistic relationship, but so is your ability to be a sounding board and to tolerate going back to the narcissist over and over and over again. And also, so is your ability to be the walking apology. The walking apology is a person who is so beaten down when they are in a narcissistic relationship, that they are apologizing for things that they didn't do, they were unaware of, they had no idea what the narcissist was talking about, but they're so beaten down, they apologize for things. Like, here's a prime example. When you were in the narcissistic relationship, what happened? I'll tell you, many times you were given the silent treatment. Remember those days? I'm sure you do. So what would happen? It would be a battle of wills between you and the narcissist. Now, you didn't know what was going on back then. You just knew that you were not being spoken to for a period of time, which many times would turn from 10 minutes to an hour to a couple days. It sincerely would. And then what would happen? One of you, two of you would have to give in. And I will tell you, every single time it was you giving in. And what did you do? You probably approached the narcissist and apologized for something and said, hey, can we just work it out? I mean, it's kind of awkward. You're not talking to me and it's been 3 days. And I mean, I don't know what's going on here. Why did they do that? I'll tell you why. Because again, using the constrictor analogy, they were trying to squeeze you as much as they possibly could mentally and emotionally. And what they wanted to do was have you cower and go apologize to them. And then once they had you low on the pedestal and they put themselves back up, they said, yep, I just made this person apologize for something they never did. And I have been doing this for years and I'll keep on doing it. When they did that, then they felt good about themselves because they were controlling you. And they knew that they ruined your last 3 days. And they knew now that they would give you a mini little love bomb, maybe or maybe not. Who knows? It depended on what the narcissist type of supply they got that day. But you just gave them supply by apologizing for something you never did. Think about this. And right now, wherever the narcissist is on the planet, they're doing the same thing with somebody else. Maybe it's in the workplace, maybe it's a sibling, maybe it's your mom, maybe it's your sister, maybe it's a coworker, maybe it's a romantic interest, a friend. Who knows? Notice this one, how this happens many times. When you were in the narcissistic relationship, what would happen? You would enter a room and the narcissist was occupying that room with other individuals. And then what would happen? It would be radio silent. You could hear a pin drop. Why do you think that was? That's right, because they were most likely talking about you. And they did not want you to know what they were saying. Now, I'm not trying to trigger you or upset you. I'm just letting you know. These are the mind games, the mental gymnastics of the narcissist. It is all on purpose. Everything is calculated. Everything is determined on how much damage to inflict upon you at any given period in time. But one thing for certain is the narcissist can't change. And when you finally understand, you are learning that they can't change, they don't change, they won't change, and they don't want to change because they are spoiled to the core. They're rotten to the core. And what that means is they believe they're better than everybody. They believe they're above the law. They believe they're smarter than you. They believe that they know more than you. They believe that if they can continue to manipulate you into believing their false narrative, that puts them high in the pedestal. And once you figure out what you're up against, let's say, for example, you were in the narcissistic relationship and you were one of the people who was taking notes, maybe even in a journal or on your smartphone like I did, about the toxicity of the poor behavior while you were still in the relationship, but yet you could not identify it was a narcissistic relationship. If you were one of those individuals, ding, 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 that is the biggest red flag of all time. Meaning, if you are taking notes and or trying to figure out what kind of relationship you're in it when you're still in it, that is the biggest clue you're ever going to get. Because what happens then is eventually you find my channel, you get that needle in a haystack, and here you go, you get the wisdom. But when you were in the relationship with the narcissist, think about how many times their poor behavior was on display and how little it changed. It only got worse over time. Nothing ever improved. You never had an adult conversation with the narcissist, meaning let's sit down and discuss how the relationship is going and what we can do to better it and improve it. Whenever you try to do that, what would happen? Well, number one, the narcissist would probably say something like this, like, I don't have time for that right now. I'm busy. Let me take a phone call. I have to boil an egg. Pardon me, but I can't do it. And they wouldn't even say the last one. They would just say that they're too busy. Or they would sit down with you, and then they would have one of their smartphones getting more attention than you were because they're just providing you lip service. Like, yep, got it, yep, okay. And what are they doing? They're just, again, being a spoiled, rotten child. They're not paying attention to the intelligent conversation you're trying to have with them. What they're doing is they're acting like they care, but they don't. And they're showing you that. The thing is, when you're in these relationships, you can't believe that someone would have the audacity to behave that way, but yet you're still in the relationship. And what that means is it's another red flag. And they know what they're doing each and every time. So when you are catching on to the narcissist, like I began to share with you, and you're starting to put a boundary in place, or you're asking them, hey, what's going on? How come you're not really giving the relationship what you used to? That's a red flag again, because most likely they have the new supply lined up. But number two is they're just going to let you talk all day long, or maybe they'll pepper you or hammer you with a rage fit, but they want to learn about your mindset. What is what you're thinking about? Are you thinking of ending the relationship? Did you give them clues? Did you give them hints? Did you say things like, hey, I didn't sign up for this. When we got married, it was supposed to be the two of us happily ever after, moving forward. We now know happily ever after rarely exists, if ever. But the point being, that's what you thought back then before you had the wisdom. And what would the narcissist be doing? They would throw it right back in your face. Well, I didn't sign up for this either. They would never work with you. They would never sit down and talk with you like an adult. They would never have the intelligent conversation because they're too busy sincerely looking for your replacement. And I do mean that, because the narcissist cannot only have one source of supply. They need to have multiple sources. You thought you were in a loving, stable, healthy relationship with one individual. It was anything but that. It was topsy-turvy. You were in a relationship with an individual who was in multiple relationships when you were in the relationship with them. Play that again. What that means is, if you're supposed to be in a healthy, stable relationship with two people, let's say it's a marriage as an example, it's supposed to be that, two people. That's why you took the vows when you walked down the aisle, remember? Of course you do. That's what you thought, and that's what you were taught and believed growing up. That's not what the narcissist thought. What they thought was, wow, this person is so naive and gullible, and perhaps they're even an empath. I will gladly walk down the aisle with them, and then I will destroy them. I will take everything I possibly can from them. Everything. And then when I'm ready, I will discard them and I'll go on to another wedding, another ceremony, maybe even by now a third or fourth wedding event. Who knows? No disrespect to people who get married multiple times. I'm just sharing. If you married a narcissist, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Their belief in marriage wasn't even 1/1,000,000th of what yours was. They just saw you as an opportunity. They saw the marriage as a license to abuse behind closed doors mainly, and in cars, and when it's private time. But also they would abuse you in front of people also. But having said these things, thinking the narcissist will change, learning that they can't change. The only thing they will change is their appearance to another individual and their mindset of how they have to manipulate another individual. So example, remember, let's say when you were with the narcissist, if you like to read books and go skiing and travel, well, the narcissist loves traveling, so let's change that. If you like to read books, ski, and go mountain biking, the narcissist won't be doing that these days. They want to play volleyball, they want to play parcheesi, and they want to watch Netflix all day long. You get my point. That's not the best example either, because the only reason the narcissist would actually watch Netflix is if they were watching a program that could give them more manipulating techniques. And I have multiple shows that the narcissist can watch on any Netflix program that gives them tips as to how they can fine-tune their skills, but that's for a whole different video. Point being, the narcissist is somebody different now. They've already moved on from your relationship, and what they did is they got the mask, they threw it to the ground, crashed it in 1,000 pieces, most likely discarded you, and then you had to put yourself back together and introspect and heal and learn and grow and become awakened and aware. What did the narcissist do? They just rode off as if nothing ever happened. Why? Because that's how little they cared about the relationship. You see, they can't change, and you're just learning that right now. This is what they do to their own kids. This is what they do to their own parents. This is what they do to friends. This is what they do to romantic interests. This is why many times the narcissist can't keep a job. Why? Because their behavior is so poor, and they believe that they're above the job, and they can't tolerate to have somebody above them, that they can't make it. And they believe that they'll do without money because someone else will pay their way through life. Why should they get a job when they can just completely intimidate and or manipulate another person to provide a lifestyle for them? This is how many of them exist. Now, many narcissists are extremely successful in the workplace. I get that. They really are, and God bless them. But how did they get the roles or the titles? I'll tell you how. They manipulated people, or stepped on people's necks, or threw people under the bus to get whatever they wanted. That's what they do usually. They're not going to play this experience called life the proper way, the fair way. They're going to take whatever they can from anybody, specifically people who don't have the wisdom, specifically who people don't know their value, and specifically people who do not know that the narcissist even exists. That's how the narcissist moves on from one individual to another, or business to business, place to place, relationship to relationship, leaving a wake of destruction in their past. That's what they do. Now, having said all these things before I close the video, or thinking that the narcissist will change, learning that they can't, that's a pivotal period for many people, because you believe, most likely, or believe that people thought like you did, or you do, and that people had your best interest at heart. They don't. They didn't then, they don't now, and they never will. Not everybody, but that certainly applies to the narcissist. Remember, the narcissist is a taker. They want to take as much as they possibly can from you. Take, and when they're done, what do they want to do? That's right, they want to take more. And you are learning this now. So the only thing that can change with the narcissist is how they super glue the mask to their face to get another unsuspecting individual to fall prey into the narcissistic abusive cycle. Guys, that's the video. I hope you liked it. I loved doing it from the sunny Carolinas. This is Andrew. Namaste. Have a great afternoon, evening, or morning. No matter where you are on the planet, you are not alone. Remember that you are not alone. And as far as the thumbnail goes, thinking the narcissist will change, learning that the narcissist won't. It's a fact. The narcissist can't. That is exactly why they don't give you closure. That is exactly why they crumble you up like a sheet of paper, throw you away in the freeway. And that is why many times they try to hoover, because at their core, they're actually pathetic human beings, which means they are childlike. Nothing against children. I was a child, so were you. But the point being is they think that after a period of time, they can come back and hoover and get you to fall back into the relationship. Once you've healed, there's no chance of that. You close the chapter of the book on the narcissist. You go no contact, you block them, you remove all flying monkeys and people associated with them, and you begin living your best life. If not now, when? I love you all. God bless you, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.